Well, that's odd. I tried to get my thingy to start and I couldn't get my thingy to start. My open. What the heck? Let's try that again, shall we? Find out what's going on. Nope. It's not. It's not playing. It's okay. Hi, how's it going? It is Thursday evening. We haven't been here in a couple of weeks, and it's good to be back to do another Bourbcast with you. I got the setting all. Somebody said that they like this setting. I will tell you that the wind is coming this way, so the smoke and the debris from the fire is coming right across my back, which on one hand is kind of nice because it's warm. He's mowing now. And on the other hand, the smoke is going right up my nose. So I might sneeze, and I might shoot a neighbor. Let's drink. All right, so today what I wanted to do, so many people let me know that they really would like me to do a primer as to, hey Austin, how are you? As to beginning, if you really want to get started drinking bourbon. They see how much I enjoy it, and now he stopped mowing. 30 seconds at a time. Anyway, they see how much I enjoy it, and they want to learn how to like bourbon. It's not for everybody. Don't shame yourself if you don't like it. I got a friend of mine that I gave him a whiff of some bourbon last week. He was out here on the deck with me, and he got a whiff, and he goes like, kerosine, bleh! And he had a Bud Light. And then there was a story that somebody told me that there was a bachelor party and they were passing around, I think, the Bush Light or something like that. And one of the guys that showed up passed around a bottle of Larceny, and nobody liked it. They all hated it because it was, like kerosene. And not everybody's a bourbon drinker. But if you want to become a bourbon drinker, tonight we're going to talk about how to do that if you don't like bourbon, whiskey, or if you just don't have any experience with it and you want to learn how to start. So I did some research on this, and I didn't bring any of it with me because it's not important, but I did some research on what people do when they're trying to get other people to drink whiskey. And one of the things that I found is that people don't have beginning whiskey drinkers in mind when they make their recommendations. I can't tell you how many recommendations I saw for like high proof whiskeys, like Wild Turkey 101. A lot of people really like Wild Turkey 101. It's okay. But if you're just getting started on bourbon, and the only thing that you've done is had like maybe tops a 6 to 8% wine or a 6 to 8% beer, switching to a 40% alcohol by volume whiskey and up is going to be a culture shock. So I want to get people started in a way that sounds reasonable. I don't want to get people started on a 100 proof whiskey or even a 95 proof whiskey or anything like that. I'm not going to ask people to try to taste things like caramel and vanilla. I might suggest some of those things to you and what I'm tasting to give you kind of a feeling about what it's like to taste bourbon. But really, I just want those who are just getting started in bourbon drinking to get an idea of what it's like to drink whiskey. Because there's nothing else like it. Beer tastes like beer. Wine tastes like wine. Whiskey tastes like whiskey. Now, a lot of whiskeys taste alike, at least similar. They have similar notes and things like that. But as far as tasting like any other spirit, it's not rum, gin, vodka, scotch. Well, scotch has similar notes. It's not, and scotch is a whiskey, but it doesn't taste like beer. It doesn't taste like wine. There's nothing like it anywhere. Whiskey is a unique product, and it has a unique profile. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to take you through kind of a list of things, and there's two of them that I've held back because we're going to get those next week. And I'll tell you about them. I brought one of them upstairs. But we're just going to kind of go through them all and kind of give you an idea. And we're going to start with some of them that you've heard us talk about before. One of them is Four Roses. This is the Four Roses bourbon. This is 80 proof, 40% alcohol by volume. We just finished, not last week, but the week before, we finished a 4-week series on Four Roses. So if you're curious about the tasting notes for Four Roses, go go back to the first one, which is 5 weeks ago, and you'll hear more of the stuff about Four Roses bourbon. But one of the things about this one that I like for entry level is it's 80 proof. It's not asking for more out of you than what you're willing to put into it. I'm going to sneeze. This is going right up my nose. All right. So, I mean, just in the spirit of trying things, I haven't had anything to drink in a week, so this will be almost like starting all over again for me. All right, just a little bit. This is as much as they might give you in a tasting at a distillery. So the Four Roses, you might start by sniffing it, and it's going to smell different. Wine has a different smell. If you like red wines and you like black coffee or strong coffee, you might find yourself liking whiskey and bourbon a little more easily than if you like white wines, particularly sweet wines or Concord wines, and foo-foo coffee with all the stuff in it and the sugar and the syrups and the stuff. All right. Hey, Charles, how are you? Charles is somebody that knows my whiskey journey. He was on it with me. Turned him down into a raging alcoholic. All right. I did get your message, Charles, and I haven't had a chance to answer it yet, but I will. Okay. All right. So just a little bit of Four Roses here. Yeah. So if you're only used to bourbon or to beer or wine, that's going to probably set you back a little bit. So even with this is 80 proof. This is where you ought to get to pretty soon after you get started in your bourbon drinking journey. Make it sound like it's a big life journey, bourbon drinking journey. Let's start. We'll go next to this one, Jim Beam. This is an 80 proof whiskey. I just happen to have another bottle of this that was left over from, believe it or not, it was a wedding gift for my groomsmen 25 years ago. And I didn't want to drink out of that bottle. I wanted to drink out of a new bottle. So this is Jim Beam. You really can't go wrong with Jim Beam. I haven't had the 80 proof since 25 years ago, but we're going to give this a shot. Jim Beam. Jim Beam is the largest best-selling distillery in the world. So they've had some time to get it right. This is just that 80 proof. The Four Roses had some bite to it. Let's try this one. You're welcome, Charles. See, this one is even smoother than the Four Roses. So the Jim Beam bourbon might be a good one to start with if you're after an 80 proof bourbon and you just want to get things underway. You just want to get started with it. This is actually really smooth. Hardly any bite to that one at all. Again, whiskey tastes different than anything else. So if you can get past the taste and the smell of whiskey, this is a good one to start with. Jim Beam. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Yeah, we could try this one. This is the Evan Williams. This is a little higher proof, very slightly. This is 86 proof. So you're not talking about adding a lot of heat to anything. That's pretty tasty, actually. I'll give that kudos. Evan Williams. This is a product of Heaven Hill, I believe. Says Evan Williams Distillery. I guess it is Evan Williams. I thought it was Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill's on strike right now, which is terrible timing because today is the first day of the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. We're not going to be able to make it. I thought I'd be able to go, but I'm not going to be able to go. Spend a bunch of money on nothing, but at least it goes to further my interest in the field of whatever. Trying to make myself feel better. This is the Evan Williams. I've got lots of different Evan Williams. It's one of my favorites. I love Evan Williams. This is the 80, what did I say, 86 proof? Jeez. 86 proof. So far, for beginners, the winner so far is the Jim Beam. as far as smoothness, as far as likability for somebody who's just getting started in their whiskey journey. Evan Williams, 86 proof. That's really good. I believe Heaven Hill Brands does in fact own the Evan Williams label. Okay, Austin, thank you for setting me up on that. I couldn't remember. I wanted to say that I thought it was, but I'm not sure. Henry McKenna is part of that brand. There's a bunch of Heaven Hill products, and they're on strike right now. They say really it's not about the money, but they've got people working 7 days a week, and they're working overtime and evidently not getting paid for their overtime. So we stand in solidarity with them. Now, I'm not going to boycott Heaven Hill. It's kind of my feeling that if you boycott, I mean, there's two ways to look at it. If you boycott Heaven Hill, then yes, they may be pressured to pay people more, to acquiesce to the demands. The other school of thought for me is what's already out there is out there. You can decide not to buy it, but it's out there, which means it's already been purchased, which means Heaven Hill already has the revenue. So for me, I'm thinking just buy it, and then Heaven Hill will have the funds to be able to pay those people more. They won't have a reason not to, right? I don't know, just a couple different schools of thought. It's incredibly smooth. Got a little bit more of a bite than the Jim Beam and a little less of the bite of the Four Roses. This is quite tasty, very good. Again, it's a way to get started. So the Jim Beam is the 80 proof bourbon. This is the Evan Williams Kentucky bourbon. This is just the bottom of the shelf. I mean, there's nothing wrong with bottom shelf bourbons. Nothing wrong with them at all. Some of them you're going to like, some of them you aren't. I'm not going to taste them all tonight because I want to save some for next week. But we're going to taste the standards tonight. Another one that I saw on the shelf is Wild Turkey. Now, this Wild Turkey is 81 proof. So if you're going to try a Wild Turkey, I would tell you not to go to the 101. You'll be turned off. It's too high a proof for somebody who's used to beer or wine. If you want to start with whiskey, start with the lower proof stuff so the burn doesn't turn you off. I don't want the burn to turn you off. If anything's going to turn you off, it's going to be the flavor compared to, where the heck? Oh, there it is. The flavor compared to, this one goes from the bottom up. That's weird. Compared to wine or beer. The flavor itself is going to be something that's it's a barrier to entry. If you don't like the taste of whiskey, you're not going to be getting into bourbon drinking. Jeez. Stuck to me. All right. All right. So this is the Wild Turkey. I did bring out extra glasses, but meh. As I said before, a lot of whiskeys taste the same. So I'm not doing big tastings of these whiskeys tonight. I'm kind of just doing this to give you a primer as to what would be beginning whiskeys and why, and my feelings about them. So this is the Wild Turkey. I will tell you, I'm not a huge Wild Turkey fan. They have some brands that I like the Rare Breed and Long Branch. But Wild Turkey itself, we'll see. Maybe I'll like this one. Yeah. Ahoy. No snaking tonight, so I'll hang out with you. So Jordan is in Florida. And Jordan has been, he used to be, when he lived in Ohio, we used to all go out and shoot bow together. He used to be a big archer, deer hunter, all those things. Well, now he lives in Florida, so he's been doing a lot of fishing. And one of these times, Jordan, maybe even this February, I don't know, maybe sometime, I'll get down to Florida, we'll fish. But the other thing that he's been doing is going out into the Everglades and catching pythons. We're talking 10, 12-foot python snakes that aren't supposed to be there. They don't belong in the Everglades, but they're there. And they've been going out and catching pythons. It's freaking cool. I know some of you don't like snakes. I don't mind snakes. I would love to go on a python hunt. So, Jordan, count me in next time if I ever get to Florida. All right. Wild turkey. If you're a beginning bourbon drinker, this wild turkey, this is the 81 proof is what I said. 81, 81, 81, 81. This one, it's very smooth. Got a great flavor to it. Not a lot of bite. The gnats and fruit flies are trying to get in it. Shame, shame. Get. Has longer legs than the other two. At 81 proof, the wild turkey has longer legs. Now, if you're beginning in whiskey, what that is the flavor stays. You have an aftertaste. And I will say with a wild turkey, that's a very pleasant aftertaste. And it's long. It lasts. I have respect for that. I like that. My fire's dying. Oh well. I'll build it up again in a minute. It's definitely getting darker earlier. So anyway, okay. So far we have the Jim Beam, which still is tops for me, the Evan Williams, the Wild Turkey, which may be number 2 now, and then the Four Roses 80 proof, which to me is still a little bit bitey for an. I mean, for me, it's thin and it needs something. A little water is going to give that some viscosity, and it'll also bring up the spice. So newer bourbon drinkers may want to avoid the Four Roses until you're ready for it. All right, so we're going to keep going. This is the Old Forester. You've seen me try other Old Forester brands. Last time we did Old Forester, it was the 100 proof. We made a drink with it. This one is bottom shelf Old Forester. This is about the lowest Old Forester proof you can get. This is 86 proof. I almost didn't need my glasses for that. It's big. It's 86 proof. I like Old Forester. I haven't had a single Old Forester I haven't liked, and I've tried nearly all of them. Hurry, get it going. I am getting it going, Aaron. Good night. Mr. In a hurry. He's always in a hurry. You don't... It's like somebody when you say, would you like to have some whiskey? And they pour it in their glass and go, ugh. No. Take your time. Enjoy each moment of each day, because you only get it once and then it passed by. So enjoy it. Every moment of every day. Like this. All right. So this is just the 86. Ooh, it's got a nice spicy nose to it. Again, part of tasting is smelling. You taste with your nose as much as you do your taste buds. So if you don't like the smell of whiskey, you may not like the taste of whiskey. It's going to take a little time to get you past it. And then once you get used to it, then you'll be able to start moving up and trying some of the other things that we've tried. The Old Forester, let's give it a shot. 86. 86? 86. 86. Wait, we won't talk about patience. I've seen you drive. Not lately. All right. Okay. This one has a great front end, very spicy on the back. It's 86 proof. I would tell you to wait on this one. If you're brand new to it, maybe this is something you get after maybe a month of trying whiskey, seeing if you like it. Get out of my Old Forester. Man, I'll tell you what, I've told this story before, I'll say it again. I was in Louisville, I ordered the Old Forester, it came with gnats in it. So I sent it back and I got another one, there were gnats in it. So I found out the gnats like Old Forester, so I put the cap back on that to get out of here. Keep the gnats out of my booze. All right, yeah, I'm liking that. Okay, so the Old Forester is quite tasty. Make sure there's no gnats in my booze. Okay, we're clean. We're good. We good. Up front, very mild. You get that Old Forester to the back, and that's where the kick comes in. Some people may like that. Some wines are like that, particularly the smaller wineries that aren't like the mass brand wineries, the big Napa Valley wineries. You get to a local winery where they're doing wines that are 10, 12% alcohol. You may have a little bite to it when you drink it, and that's a little bit like this Old Forester. So let's move on. Next week, I'm not going to do this one tonight, but Tullamore Dew. I do want to start thinking about some of the other whiskeys, like the Irish whiskeys and the Canadian whiskeys and some of that, because they deserve a seat at the table. Of the Irish whiskeys that I tried, we have tried Tullamore Dew back on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. So you can go back and kind of take a look at that one for Tullamore Dew and get my ideas of the flavor profile for that. We will try this one next week. We will try this one next week. Not going to try this one tonight. We do have a couple more we're going to try, so don't get impatient with me. Another one we're going to try next week, actually two. I have the Basil Hayden's Toast. This is 80 proof. I have the other one, the regular Basil Hayden, which is also 80 proof. I have been kind of hard on Basil Hayden. But truth be told, if you are a new whiskey drinker, Basil Hayden may not be a bad idea. From memory, early in my bourbon journey, I remember Basil Hayden being almost, well, kind of a little bit like the Old Forester in a way, only then some. So Basil Hayden, to me, is nothing on the front. You might as well be sipping water. Nothing in the middle, no bloom, nothing going on. Then when you swallow it, it slams the door on you on the way out. It's got a bite to it when you swallow it, and that's one of the problems I have with Basil Hayden is there's nothing up here, there's no flavor, leaves everything for the back. So we will be doing Basil Hayden, the regular one, and this Toast next week because I kind of wanted to do this Toast one anyway, and we haven't done any Basil Hayden for the show at all. So we'll do that next week along with Tullamore Dew. Another one I want to point out, and we have done this one as well already. This is the Uncle Nearest 1884. The Uncle Nearest 1884 we did February? March? I don't remember. Some time ago. We did this one in the 1856. The 1884 I thought was a little easier to drink. This is a higher proof. It's 93 proof. But I fed this one to my mom. She likes whiskey, but she likes it to be mixed. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. Uncle Nearest 1884 is sweeter than the 1856 and sweeter than a lot of bourbons. Matter of fact, let's just do a quick reminder of the Uncle Nearest 1884. All right. 93 proof. Caramely nose. Vanilla. Normal stuff. And this is great because this is a Tennessee whiskey. This is the other difference about this. And I forgot the other one. Darn it. We'll do it next week. I wanted to bring up the Jack Daniel's Old No. 7 because that is a Tennessee whiskey. Different than the 1884. But as long as we're trying new whiskeys, there may be different profiles of whiskeys that you like better than other ones. I don't care for Tennessee whiskeys very much, although the 1884 being a little bit sweeter, I like it. Jack Daniel's is a Tennessee whiskey. I don't care for the flavor of it. The higher proof versions of it, I can, I'm going to cover this up. The higher proof versions I can appreciate a little bit more, but I will bring up the Jack Daniel's next week. I can't believe I forgot it. That was on my list. So, all right, let's try this one. A little bit too much for a beginner. There's some bite on that one. There's some bloom on the tongue. I really like it. But I'm an experienced bourbon drinker. For those of you that are beginners, don't do that. Unless you're willing to try something and jump full speed ahead into it. You know, if you're the type that's a beer drinker or a wine drinker, you may not like it. So start small. We'll do a recap in a little bit, but I got 2 more I want to bring out. All right. Cork is on. Good to go. All righty. So, some people have their own prescription of what they do to start drinking whiskey. Some people look at what I'm about to show you and consider that a whiskey drink. And it is, and it does give you the flavor of whiskey. And it's a great way to get started. And I'm not saying that facetiously. It is a great way to get started if you're new to bourbon, because it introduces you to the palate and the nose of whiskeys. Now, seasoned bourbon drinkers are going to look at this and they're going to turn their nose up and they're going to say, Casey, what are you thinking? But remember, I'm a certified bourbon steward. So I'm going to be looking this objectively in a way that people online don't. I'm not out to try to prove anything to anybody. I want, if I've had several friends say, I want to try bourbon, you're enjoying it. Okay, if you want to try it, these are the steps to take to find out whether or not you can stomach whiskey. So let me take you to the next step. And when I bought this, I actually said to the guy at the liquor store, I said, don't judge me. He says, I'm not going to judge you one bit. He says, I heard you were a bourbon steward. Is that true? I'm like, yes, it is. He goes, then I'm definitely not going to judge you. How do I do that? There's a method to my madness. Okay? So the next 2 I'm going to introduce to you, again, you're going to laugh. But trust me on this. Southern Comfort, Seagram 7. Those of you who are purists and who love bourbon are going to look at this and go, ah. But listen. Listen to me. These 2, Southern Comfort is 70 proof. This is the lowest proof of all of them that we've tried. This is a blended whiskey. It can't be called bourbon. There's too many other things that they've got happening to it. I'll bring out the big gun glasses because I want to be able to read the back. In 1874, M.W. Heron took harsh whiskeys of the time and mixed them with his own blend of fruit and spices to create a whiskey that would be enjoyed comfortably. Since then, Southern Comfort has been spreading the soulful and vibrant spirit of New Orleans. Okay. So this is 70 proof. 70 proof. We'll do a little more. All right. Now all I got is like smoke and very little flame. I don't think I'm going to like this. It has been a really long time since I've had Southern Comfort, and I've never had it neat. I don't think I'm going to like it, but I will give you the best profile I can. I'm going to actually pour it a little bit more. And I know I can save the rest of this bottle because when my mom visits, she'll enjoy it. She's the one who introduced me to Southern Comfort. She and my father. All right. All right. It's very candy-ish. It's got a candy, very sweet, sugary type of cotton candy type of smell to it. I can place it, but I can't articulate it. Just very, very sweet. Like candy, like toffee, like a really sweet toffee. But also it's got fruit notes to it. Definitely cotton candy. Like cherry cotton candy. All right. Okay. No. No, 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 no. 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 This tastes nothing like whiskey. Don't. God. I think I just got diabetes. Oh, God. Oh, no. It's like bubble gum. It's got a bubblegum flavor to it. Oh, that's puke. Ugh. Ugh. No. Just no. 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 Oh my God, I need something to get rid of this. That's nasty. Oh my God. That's nasty. Ugh. Oh my God. Back to reality. Holy crap. All right. So, Southern Comfort, don't. Has nothing in common with whiskey. It's, no. It's bubble gum. It doesn't taste like whiskey. It doesn't taste like anything. Except for bubble gum and cotton candy. Just don't. Okay. Oh my God. Austin says he literally laughed out loud. Diabetes. That's horrid, dude. That is just wrong. All right, so Seagram 7. In counties surrounding mine, Seagram 7 is kind of a staple. I'll get to what they do to it. Right now, let's just give it a taste and see if it's any better than what I just had. Oh my God. There's no comfort in Southern Comfort unless you want diabetes. And that fat, a big bone. Oh my God. Oh, jeez. Oh God, that's nasty. All right. I'm gonna give everything a try, but jeez, yeah. All right, so this is Seagram 7. Seagram 7 is really good, and Sprite. We're getting to that. Don't jump ahead, Blake. All right. Okay. So Seagram 7. Okay. Seagram 7 at least has some sort of flavor that might remind you of whiskey. This is an American blended whiskey. This is the American blended whiskey. It's the crown on top. Seagram 7. There's nothing written on the back at all. But what they do in other counties, and the reason I want to bring this up is because of what people do with this stuff. All right, so I'll just set it there. I know it's out of focus and it's a little bit low, but at least you can see it. Here, I'll just do this. There. So Seagram 7. In neighboring counties, what they do with Seagram 7 is they do a 7-7 mix. Sprite, fine, but we have 7-Up here. And at wedding receptions, you have a choice, generally, of beer and wine and what they call mix. And mix is very simply Seagram 7 and 7-Up. So you'll pour yourself like an ounce or so. I don't think that's an ounce. I think it's less, but that's okay. Of Seagram 7. And then, and this is, I'm not telling you not to do this. This is a great way to get started. A little 7-Up, fill it up, taste it along the way. It's freaking dark out and he's mowing. What a turd. All right, so you know what I didn't do? Now it's 30 seconds over. He's done. Ice. Oop. There's one that's I'm sacrificing to the ice god. All right, the 1, 2, and there's gnats trying to fly into it, so I have to hurry. All right, so there's a couple pieces of ice. A little bit too much 7-Up, but If you are a new whiskey drinker, you see that smoke just coming right across my face? I will need an allergy pill. And I probably need to clean my lens. So, if you are a new bourbon drinker, new whiskey drinker, I can tell you that Seagram 7 and 7-Up, or any one of these other ones, the Evan Williams, or the Jim Beam, or the Wild Turkey, or the Old Forester, or the Uncle Nearest 1884, or 1856 for that matter, or even the Four Roses 80 proof. If you don't like whiskey, mix it with some 7-Up or Sprite, and it'll at least get you started on what the flavor of whiskey is. It'll give you the fizz of beer, so it'll have some familiarity for you. But it'll also give you the first profiles of what you might expect from whiskey. Seagram 7 isn't bad. It isn't anything that makes me want to throw it across the yard like the Southern Comfort barf that, that I threw across the yard because that was gross. Oh my gosh. Bubblegum and cotton candy. Just puke. Just nasty. Just don't even start with that. It doesn't taste like anything. It doesn't taste like wine. It doesn't taste like beer. It doesn't taste like gin, vodka, rum, nothing. It tastes like cotton candy and bubblegum. So just don't. Just gross. But Seagram 7 is a great way to start priming your palate for the taste of whiskey. Once you get to the point where you can stop mixing it with 7-Up, then you can start trying it neat. This is 80 proof. Once you've started with that one, what I would tell you is that if you can drink that neat and enjoy it, you should switch then to the Jim Beam. This is 80 proof. And start picking out the things that you taste. Start exploring flavor profiles the way that I do. Download a flavor wheel if you want to help you learn how to taste bourbon. Does it taste like caramel? Can you sense caramel? And it's not going to be caramel because they don't put caramel in it. They don't put honey in it. They don't put vanilla in it. These are just flavors that come from the barrel, but can you taste that? Can you taste the caramel and the vanilla and the raisins or the apples or the mint on the center of your tongue? What's the bloom doing? Is it sitting there or is it blooming out across your tongue, that burn? I call it the bloom. So Jim Beam, it's a great first step. I really actually very much like this one. If I had to do a second, I'd say the Wild Turkey. The 86 proof. Yeah, 86? No, 81. The 81 proof, great flavor. Doesn't beat you up in the process. Third, I would probably have to say the Evan Williams. This is the just Kentucky Kentucky straight bourbon, Kentucky's first distiller, blah, blah, blah. This is just the bottom shelf Evan Williams. Nothing special about it. No, just the 86 proof. Really nice. Doesn't beat you up. And then fourth would be the Old Forester. This is the 86 proof. Very smooth, very tasty. Lots of great notes that if you're into Old Forester, you'll enjoy that. And if you're not into Old Forester, then you will be. Can I just say that succinctly? After that one, maybe the Uncle Nearest 1884 and the Four Roses 80 proofs bourbon. This has still just got some extra spice that some of the other ones don't have. So we'll next week we're going to be looking at the Jack Daniel's Old Number 7, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is 80 proof. And I to the life of me don't understand why it's so popular. But we'll do that again next week. We've done it this year, but we'll do it again. And then we'll do the Basil Hayden. And we have two different Basil Haydens we're going to try, and then we're going to get to the Irish whiskey, the Tullamore Dew. So you may be wondering why I didn't go with Jameson. Tullamore Dew at 80 proof is a little more mild than Jameson. Jameson has a lot of flavor, has a lot going on. It has a lot over other Irish whiskeys like Tullamore Dew and Redbreast. I like Jameson the best of all the Irish whiskeys, and they're very similar in proof. I think they're all like 80 proof. They're not out there as far as proof goes. But the Tullamore Dew was one that I liked enough for its different notes that I want to revisit that next week. So if you're just getting started in whiskeys and bourbons, these are the ones that I would recommend. Get started with Seagram 7. If you're a soda drinker, if you like 7-Up, if you like ginger ale, be a great example of the abomination in the whiskey world. Right? There are whiskeys that just shouldn't exist, Austin, and I think you can agree, and Southern Comfort is one of them. That was nasty. I don't know what I'm going to do with that bottle. I'm not going to flush it because somebody will drink it. Maybe my mom will drink it. I'm not drinking that shit. Sorry. Sorry. I'm just not. I'm not. I can't. I won't. Blech. Seagrams I can drink. The rest of these I can drink and enjoy them. That's barf. That's Southern barf. Good Lord. But there are other bottles that are barf. And as you expand your bourbon journey, you will find the barf bottles. You'll find them. I've found them. You may like some of them. I don't think you will. I think you'll be the same as me, and you'll taste these things and go, that's revolting. Bird dog. Bird dog. Bird dog. Just saying. Just saying. All right, folks. That was fun. I hope that you learned a little something. I hope that if you are a beginning whiskey drinker, that I have helped you start on the path. Excuse me. Let me just throw out there, just because these are 80 proof doesn't mean that they don't have some potency. I've tried, 6 different drinks tonight, all 80 proof, lower proofs, but I wouldn't drive, not now. An 80 proof shot, one, can put you at 0.02%. 4 of those and you're over the legal limit. And they do grow as you drink. And they say that you're supposed to be able to eliminate an ounce of alcohol per hour. So if you have 1 beer or 1 glass of wine or 1 shot of whiskey in an hour, you should be able to purge that from your system. Well, that changes if you drink 2 or 3, and you're not going to purge the whole ounce in an hour. It's more like an hour and a half per ounce. So just be aware of that if you're going out and trying things. Get a DD, go to a friend's house, buy it for yourself and drink it at home. Especially if you're going to have as much as I did tonight and try as many different brands as I did tonight and see what you like. Just don't even risk it. In Ohio particularly, it's always been easy to get in trouble. It's even easier now. Over the last 4 years, the new laws, it's not worth it. So do take that in consideration as you're trying these drinks. If you're new to bourbon and you're used to beer and you're used to wine and you know how you can handle those things, beer is a lot, 10%, 8%, 6% alcohol. Wine, somewhere in the same ballpark. These start at 40%. That Southern Comfort puke started at 35%. You're talking about a lot different alcohol by volume. So just consider that as you're trying this new journey, and consider doing it at home where you're safe. If you have friends over, give them a bed or a sleeping bag. But it's a fun journey to take as long as you are aware of the differences between the alcohol by volume of different things from beer, wine, and different whiskeys. So just be aware of that as you go along with this journey. Meanwhile, I've got a 7 and 7 to finish. I'm going to pretend I like that. And as soon as we're done, I'm going to get into those. No, I really like it, really. It's a great way to start if you're just getting started in your whiskey journey, I promise you. With that being said, next week, getting back to the Tullamore Dew, Basil Hayden, the Jack Daniels, which is, it's funny, Robin Williams called that, what did he call it? The Godfather of whiskey at 80 proof. He said if if alcohol's a crutch, Jack Daniels is a wheelchair. Really? Okay. If you're new, maybe so. Because the proof difference between beer and Jack, yes. But for me, we'll get into that next week. I just find it amusing. Robin Williams was a comedian. Very funny man. All right, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me take a week off last week. We will be here next week to continue this series on beginner bourbons. If anybody has suggestions on beginner bourbons that we can add into next week's Bourbcast, let me know. Like I said, we've got 4 of them that we're going to go into. 2 Basil Haydens, the Tullamore Dew, and the Jack Daniels, Old Number 7. If there's other ones that you want me to try and prescribe to new whiskey drinkers, let me know. I'll do it. Just let me know. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and we will see you next Thursday at 7:30 with Beautiful Bourbon. Check us out on Instagram at Beautiful Bourbon. Facebook, you're here now. We're on YouTube, slowly but surely, and we have the blog at beautifulbourbon.com. Check us out and share. Please do share, because this is fun, and I hope it's been useful. That's the hope. And now it's damn dark behind me. I've got a fire to stoke. So we will see you next week.